Hi everyone, Gemma here. Thank you for watching today. So I've got this really cute sort of display box here for various gifts. So I've got a faux potted plant inside here. The way that I've made this, I've got quite a large sort of acetate tray that sits over the top. So you can sort of come up or come down depending on the height of your gift. I think this would be great for Christmas, Easter. You could do sort of an Easter egg maybe and glue dot that into the bottom of the tray, and then the acetate can sit over the top. You could do one of those Lindo bunnies or Santas. How cool would they look? But something a bit different. I have recently made a lot of tutorials using sort of chocolates as gifts, so I thought I'd do something a bit different. So let me show you how I made it. To make the base of the acetate gift box, you need a piece of 10 by 10, and you want to score at half and 3 1/4 on all 4 sides. So just rotate the cardstock, as I said, score at half and 3 1/4. Keep rotating like so, half and 3 1/4. To make the acetate piece, you want 11.5-inch squared, and what I would do as you're sort of cutting it, just come slightly under the 1/2 inch mark there, just to give it sort of 1/8 of an inch or 1/16 of an inch sort of below that 11.5-inch marker, just so we've got sort of a little bit of gap for that acetate to sit inside the tray. And then you're going to score at 4 inches on all 4 sides. So again, score at 4 and then just rotate your cardstock. Like so. Because we haven't got the exact sort of measurements, this is why you want to score on all 4 sides, so that that sort of square that's left in the center is smaller than the base that we're going to create. So working on the base, just going to fold and burnish along the score lines. Now, depending on the sort of the cardstock that you have access to, I'm doing sort of a reinforced section just to give it a cleaner edge on the gift box. Now you don't need to have that, so you could reduce this by 1/2 inch, so you'd need 9.5-inch squared. And it's really sort of simple to size up or size down, so once you sort of see the process, you can maybe adjust that for yourself. So you're going to have sort of the square in the center, and then you're going to have sort of rectangles around it, and then this 1/2 inch section. So it doesn't matter where you start, all 4 sides are the same. So I'm going to just start here on the bottom left hand side, and if we concentrate on these 4 score lines, we're going to cut up past the first to the second and free up all those pieces like so. So we've now got sort of 5 separate pieces there. Then rotate your cardstock and cut away those outer 2 pieces and this bottom right hand piece. So we've cut away an L there. If I take it back to the start, we've cut away that piece there. So we're going to do exactly the same on this side. So rotate in the opposite direction, cut away those 2 pieces and that bottom rectangle. We want to leave that one in place. Okay, then just take a little wedge off this square and then this square, and then off this bottom rectangle, like so. I went a little harsh there on that one. And if you want to, you can cut this down slightly more. It's just our tab to connect everything together. But see how you go, see how you feel, whether you want to cut that down or not. So your bottom edge should look like this now. So I'm going to rotate it to the opposite side, and I'm going to do exactly the same. Make sure you cut a wedge out of the right and left hand panel as well. Got to do that. So if I place that down on my mat, you should have a piece that looks like this. So it's a very sort of straightforward construction of a box or a tray. The only thing that's different is this 1/2 inch tab that's around the outside, and that's just to give it a reinforced edge. You don't have to have that, as I said. You could go larger, you don't have to have 1/2 inch tab. Depending on the sort of the size of the box that you're working with. If you go a lot smaller, you could have the whole panel. It's entirely up to you. It just depends on sort of the access that you have and the cardstock that you like to work with. So these larger tabs here, I'm going to add some quick grab glue to. I'm just going to do all 4 at the same time. You do need to do sort of 2 of the sides, the last 2 sides together. So that's why I find it a bit easier. But we'll talk, or I'll show you through the process now. So where you have your tab here, you want to bring up this side and this side and just square it off. Like so. So you've got that nice right angle there. Then just go around the box and do it the same. So bring up the side tab together. Make sure you've got a nice square edge. You can lay it down flat onto your mat there and go in with your bone folder and add pressure to that if you wish. And as I said, these 2 then need to come up at the same time. Just concentrate on one side at a time, square that off, and then add the pressure on the opposite side. I'm just going to go in with my bone folder and press that down. So you should be left with these 4 1/2 inch tabs here at the top. I'm going to use some collal glue this time. Just going to bend these back so you can sort of see what I'm doing there, and just add collal glue to that 1/2 inch tab, and then just fold it over. Because we're using the collal glue, it's going to take some time to grab. If you go in with your bone folder and just burnish that down really well, that will eventually grab. So just in terms of time and allowing that to get a little bit tacky, I add it around all 4 tabs. Fold them over all at the same time, like so, and then work my way back to the start, adding that pressure to that tab. So you've just got that sort of nice rounded smooth edge along the box there. Totally unnecessary. As I said, if you're happy, you know, with leaving that step out, that's entirely fine. So I'm going to set this tray to one side, bring in my piece of acetate. Now this is going to be slightly harder to see, But essentially you should have this square in the center and then the panels along the outside, same as what we did with the white piece. So you should sort of have this cross section. So we want to remove the 4 outer squares from each corner, and then we'll be left with a cross. So I'm going to do this with my craft knife just because it's easier for me to get that straight edge using a craft knife rather than a scissors. But you could use your trimmer or your scissors, as I said. All depends on what you're comfortable with. So I'm just going to the right hand side of the score line that we created. And then just removing that square. So just work your way around. So I'm on the first cut, I'm going left of the score line when I'm doing the right hand edge, and then when I rotate it I'm going right of the score line. So I'm just going to go ahead and remove that now, and then I'll come back to you once that's done. Okay, so hopefully you can see that. Maybe if I bring a piece of white scrap in here, there we go. So we've got this cross shape, and then you should have 4 score lines around to the sides there. Just going to burnish those with my fingers and bring back the tray, and then this will sit inside there like so. So depending on the item that you have, I'm going to put a potted plant in here. So you've got some height to this. Just going to tuck the acetate in there just to show you. It sits then on top of that plant like so. If you've got something a bit taller, obviously the height can come up more. So it's sort of adjustable to what you want to display inside here, which I think is really clever. So I'm going to talk you through the measurements for the pattern paper. So I've just got a matte layer for this particular project. Just going to show you another one that I did with different measurements, and I'll give you those. It's the same process. I'll talk you through that shortly. So I've got some pattern paper here that measures 3 1/4 by 2 1/2. So you want 4 pieces of that. You can add one to the bottom as well if you wish. I'm just happy with those side panels to be decorated. I made a similar project to this for an upcoming Papercraft Society box. I think it looks really cool. So different sizing, different decoration, similar process. Maybe keep an eye out for that. So just pop in the 4 panels just on the outside there. I'll give you the measurement now if you want if you want to do matte sand layers. So you want a piece of 3 by 2 1/4. Sorry, knocking the camera there. So 4 pieces of that if you want to do the matte layer as well. Or mats and layers, as I should say. So there's my pattern paper now attached. So the final measurement of this is 3.5 inch squared, so you can size up, size down depending on what you're going to add inside. And then you've got that acetate piece then that allows you extra room for the height. As I said, I've just gone for the matte layer on this, but if you want to add additional panels, you want 4 pieces of 3 by 2.25. I've got some ephemera here, so I'm using the Simply Made Crafts Bohemian Days, is it? Yeah, Bohemian Days paper pack. It was just off to the left there, so I was just checking. And you've got the ephemera pack as well that matches with that. So we've got the word love, some floral decorative pieces, so I'm just going to pop that on the front there. So as I said, I've made a similar project to this. Got my measurements here. So the final measurement of this is 4 by 6, and I've added mats and layers on this one, and I haven't needed the height for this particular box, and I've just finished off with some ribbon, and there's some chocolates inside, so I think that looks gorgeous. Just so you can sort of see what is inside, a different style of box, and you've got that lovely decoration then with a ribbon. So if you want to make this box, the measurements for that is, for the white base, you need a piece of 13.5 by 11.5 and score along all 4 sides at 3/4 inch and 3 3/4. Then for the acetate piece, you want a piece that measures just under 6.5 by just under 8.5. Sorry, I forgot to write the scoring measurements down, so I was calculating those. So you want to score at 1 1/4, all 4 sides. So that's for that particular box. Again, as I said, you could come up with the height, so you might want a longer tab for the acetate, but you can size up or size down for that piece. So there's the final project. I think it looks really cool. I'll maybe add a picture at the end so you can sort of see it in its true glory from the front there. And I think it's a lovely sort of display box for a number of gifts, especially if you want to sort of give the recipient a bit of a sneak peek to what is inside. So hopefully something different from me today. Really simple construction. Not many supplies needed. So I hope you've enjoyed the tutorial. If you have, please hit that like button, leave a comment, or consider subscribing to the channel. If you do subscribe, don't forget to hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on any future tutorials. As I said earlier, I'll try and link any of the products used in the description box below. So once again, thank you for watching, and I shall see you in the next one.